YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, the big news going on, which I'm just going to comment real quick about, is everybody, all the YouTubers, they're all talking about the whole Steven Crowder Daily Wire drama. Now, my 2 cents, I think there's shadiness on both sides. However, I have never been like a huge fan of Daily Wire. They have always came off really sketch to me. Some of the shit they pull and do. And I've just, you know, the only person I watch at the Daily Wire is Ben Shapiro. Other than that, I really don't watch anybody else from them. The simple fact that they're owned by the Daily Wire, which a lot of people thought, including myself, I thought Ben Shapiro had something to do with. But it's not. Ben Shapiro don't own Daily Wire. It's owned by 2 billionaire brothers who got their start in fracking or some shit. But they bought a media company and put it out there, and it was called the Daily Wire. And I guarantee if you looked up, anytime you look up shit like that about billionaires, there's something shady going on in their past. I guarantee it. But Ben Shapiro was just one of the first ones that they signed on. The only thing I disagree with what the Daily Wire was doing was, number one, they all jumped on the bandwagon and started attacking Steven Crowder. Candace Owens was basically being a whammon. You know, she made it personal and attacked him personally, which she don't even really know Steven Crowder, so, you know, she should have just kept her mouth shut. But she made herself look like a fool because she lied about several things, like the money. You know, the so-called term or contract was for $50 million, and if he stayed on for another couple of years, which he had, there was some kind of option to do that, you know, he would have made about $70 million. She was all like, oh, it's 120, 140 million. No, it wasn't. Lying shit. And then she's all like calling all his subscribers and Mud Club that they're stupid and they're ignorant and blah blah blah, you know. Oh, you know, the name calling and all that shit. Like I said, she got overreacting and emotional like a woman. But that's typical. Nothing new there. And I guarantee you, she is not against feminism. She's all for it. You can definitely tell. You know, she thinks she has to be the loudest person in the room and talk over everybody. But that's just Candace Owens. And, you know, I've seen video clips of her, you know, like at Congress and shit like that. And I agree with some of the stuff she says. But that whole, you know, personal attacking Crowder like a dog gone in heat or something. It was dumb. It made her look like a fool, an idiot. But anyways, they all pretty much attacked Steven Crowder after the fact. Now, I thought the video with the Daily, or Jeremy Boeing, or whatever the fuck his name is, he was trying to do damage control when he came out with this video, because Steven outed them for what they really are, and they do bad business. It's not, I'm tired of people saying, you know, there's a few people who are going, oh, it's just good business. No, it's not. It's horrible. Everyone agrees that that term paper or that contract, whatever, that apparently Steven said on the, you know, Timcast interview that they didn't even get a chance to negotiate it. He tried, but Jeremy, was like, this is the way it's got to be, blah, blah, blah. And Crowder was like, no, I'm not taking it. Tell me this isn't what you usually do. And Jeremy's all like, people are stupid, they're wage whores, blah, blah, blah. We're going to take their shit and own it, whether they like it or not. I was just like, man, that's fucked up. Now, the phone call, the recording. This was after all that shit went down. I thought that was kind of, I'm real iffy on that. I understand he wanted to out them for what they were doing to people. They were promoting bad business. It was horrible business. It was shit. And everyone agrees that that term or contract was bad. But I think Steven went about it the wrong way. I understand he wanted to out them because they were promoting and in league with big tech. I get all that, but at the same time, the way he went about it was kind of shady, in my opinion. I do watch Steven Crowder, but not because of Steven Crowder. It's not Steven that I watched the show. It's because of Dave Lando. The guy is fucking hilarious. And he's the real reason I watched the show. Has nothing to do with Steven. I say let Steven and Daily Wire fucking fight it out. Let them have at each other, If they're both going to pull shady shit, fuck it. But I agree with the whole thing that the business model, it needs to fucking change for conservatives. Because you're supposed to be helping each other out, not stabbing each other in the back and taking their shit. Daily Wire, oh, we own you now, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, dude. Daily Wire are fucking sketchy, shady motherfuckers. I would never do business with them. That's my opinion on that. I just think, Steven Crowder was right about some of that shit when I watched. That's why I waited until he did an interview with Tim Pool, because I wanted to see what he had to say. But he's right about a bunch of stuff. But at the same time, I think the way he went about it was pretty shady, pretty shitty. He should have done it a little bit different. But whatever. I'm not going to stop watching Steven Crowder because I like Dave Landau. Now, if Dave leaves, I probably won't watch him because I didn't used to watch him before. It was only when Dave came on that I started really watching Steven. So, and I'll still watch Ben Shapiro. But the others, Daily Wire themselves, the company, the brothers who own the place, they're shitty. They're terrible business people. They're out for themselves. Plain and simple. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to what I really want to talk about. I just got done watching the movie Megan, or M3gan, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Now, the reason why I watched it is because I had several people on, not only on my Twitter, but my YouTube, constantly begging me to go watch that shit and give my 2 cents on it. I was like, fine, I'll go check it out. It's really not that bad. Go check it out, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'll go watch it. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Even though just about every horror movie since 2000 has sucked ass. I'm not a huge horror fan, but I do like horror flicks if they're good, if they're decent. But after the year 2000, it's just, horror has just gone, they've all sucked. I do not like the majority of the horror flicks that have came out after 2000. It's very rare that I like one. But that's with most genres too. Hollywood just sucks. They have shitty ass writers. They can't tell a story. They got to do all these remakes and reboots, and then they just fuck it all up and destroy the original story. Anyways, so I watched Megan. Now I took some notes on the movie just because I knew that if I didn't, people would be like, "Oh, why? I'm going to tell you right now. I don't think the movie was horrible, but it was not very good. It really wasn't. First of all, the first check mark that it was going to be bad was that I saw that it was done by Blumhouse. And I have not liked one Blumhouse movie. They have all pretty much sucked. Because they always hire, most generally, not always, but most generally they hire no-name actors who can't act worth a shit. Blumhouse does for horror what the Asylum pictures do for like sci-fi and fantasy. You know, they're just really bad movies. They make really bad, produce really bad movies. I mean, if you even saw the trailer for that new Fantasy Island they did not long ago, oh my god, it didn't even come close to comparing to the old TV series. It was pure garbage. It was trash. But anyways, I digress. Let's get into this. Okay. So first thing right off the bat, which I'll tell you, the movie is basically, you know, software developer for a toy company creates a human-like doll that's actually an android, and she has a little niece that's parents gets killed. She has to take her in, so she pairs the doll with the niece, and then the niece is like, oh, you know, I can't live without the doll, she's my best friend, blah blah blah, you know. And then doll goes on a rampage and gets all emotional, which makes no sense, and starts killing people. And there's your story. You know, they kill the doll at the end. Movie over. It's that simple. It's been done many times, this particular type of story. Anyways, you can't get involved with the characters because the way they do these characters, you don't care nothing for them. In fact, you hope they all die the way they act. Just about every one of them. Like, every time they would introduce a new character, I was like, man, I hope she dies in this movie. I really do. You know, at first, I was like, I'm okay with the kid at first, you know, that particular character. Till later on, then I was like, man, I hope she dies too. But yeah, right off the bat, just about every character that was introduced, you hate. Because they suck. They're terrible. The main actress for this movie, the auntie, I couldn't stand her. She was the most horrible actress in the whole movie. Now the rest of them were okay. They were decent actors, even though they were no names. But she was terrible. Oh my god. She could not act worth a shit. And usually if you have a terrible lead actor, you have good supporting actors, co-stars that help them. But not this time. No matter how well they acted, she was just, terrible. The actress was terrible. I don't know her name because she's a no-name. Anyways, you couldn't, as a audience member, you couldn't get involved with the character. You just couldn't care less. They were over emotional and really hateful. Almost every character was very hateful, and I just like, fuck, man, I'd knock the shit out of that person. They're terrible. Right off the bat, Auntie's bitchy and pissy because she's got to take the fucking niece in. And she don't really like it, but she does it anyway. Like it was a burden for her to take in a family member. What the fuck happened to, I'm there for my family, blah, blah, blah. Unless they've done something really bad and shady to the family, blood is thicker than fucking water. But she acted like it was just the worst thing ever to have to take her in. The second thing, when they introduced the counselor, she's a fucking bitch too. She comes in and it's like, she has these robotic toys. She's a toy maker. Well, they're collectibles. And everybody knows when you collect, I don't care if it's toys or what it is, you don't go fucking with your collectibles. You don't go opening the package because it decreases the value. Shit like that. But she's all like, why don't you let your niece play with them fucking toys? Blah, blah, blah. She didn't really go and say it like that. But, the way she was giving her death looks and shit, like, let her fucking play with the toys. I was just like, what the fuck, man? She's being a real bitch. But anyways, moving on. Same thing, at the very beginning, you see the two parents. The mother, she's being... Dude, I would have told that bitch to get the fuck out of my car and walk. Shut the fuck up, get the fuck out of my car and walk, you feminist cunt. Because she literally was. She's being the biggest bitch. I was like, man, what is wrong with the women in this movie? They're all feminist cunts. They're bitchy, they're moany, they're groany. They just want to argue and fight. Fuck that shit. The next thing. The only character in this entire movie that I liked, honestly, was the boss. Her boss. The Asian dude. He's flat out telling her how it was and she's not listening. He's being straightforward with her. I got to put something out. You're driving me crazy because you're acting like a whammy. Stop it. Do your job. I'm surprised that she hadn't been fired because apparently multiple times he's told her, stop fucking with this android and put some real toys out there. Something I can work with. Because the android keeps screwing up. She can't get it right. So he's like telling her, stop playing with that and get some real toys out there. We got to put something out. My boss is coming. That kind of shit. But, of course, she takes it upon herself to, fucking ignore him and do it anyway. Make Megan anyway. Then they have this whole commercial idea that the Megan doll can take over for parenting for parents. So parents don't have to fucking actually do any parenting for the job, for their kids. Now, the girl that she works with, that's underneath her, she mentions something about it and gives her a lecture about it. You can't ignore the kid. You have to learn how to parent. You can't just pawn her off on something else and let it parent for you. That's fucked up. But that's what they want to do with this doll. Now, eventually, even though she makes it anyway and presents it to her boss, and he eventually goes along with it, he's just like, okay, it actually works now. Alright, let's fuck it, we ain't got nothing else. Let's do it. I understand his frustration. I'm surprised she didn't get fucking fired. Because any normal person that would do that shit, fired. Gone. After you've been told multiple times. Now, eventually, the girl that works underneath her, she turns into a bitch too. Dude, I'm telling you, all these women are like feminist cunts in this movie. They're horrible. They're terrible. They're all angry, miserable. You know, they just want to fight and argue. I'm just like, geez. Anyways. At some point in time, Megan questions death. I'm sorry, but if you got, you know, some AI asking about death, boy, I'd seriously think about dismantling that motherfucker. For real. Because it shows that they're learning about death. They might want to experiment and see what death is like. That would be my thought. So I'd be like, nope, you're done. We're dismantling you. The movie takes scientific horror tropes or shit that's been done before and meshes it all together. You know, we all know the repercussions of AI. It's dangerous. You shouldn't fuck with it. You know, I know Elon Musk fucks with it, and I know there's other billionaires that's been doing it. And Japan is very close to creating androids similar to like Megan. I mean, they're almost there. They plug in AI and then it's fucking over. We got Skynet going on. In fact, the governments around the world, if you look shit up, they have actually been talking to engineers and shit about creating a Skynet to run everything and tell them what to do. That's not a joke. That's serious. That's fucked up. Anyways, moving on. They keep calling her a doll throughout the movie, and she's not a doll. She's an android. There's a scene where she's... Oh, it's so dumb. Where the little girl is getting picked on by this bully, this boy at like this... It's not a camp, but it's something similar. And he hurts her by smashing a spiky acorn or whatever the fuck it is into her hand. And it hurts her a little bit. Not enough to really, well, you know, it's major pain, but it does hurt because it's spiky. And Megan shows up and he takes off with the doll like he's going to take off, or android, not a doll, it's an android. He takes off with the android just to piss the little girl off. He says he's going to tear it up, and he goes out in the woods and he pulls a shoe off. And then like, who the fuck? I don't give a fuck if he is a bully or not. You're not gonna jump on the fucking doll and just start slapping it in the face. That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. It was dumb. And then she grabs him and it says, all bad boys. I don't know, something about, oh, turn into bad men. Blah, blah, blah. Which is completely untrue. It's a feminist line. Plain and simple. All bad boy or naughty boys turn into bad men. That's not true. 90% of them grow out of the bully phase, and they actually tend to be decent human beings, because they've been on the other side. They've done the bullying, so they know what it's like, and they don't care to do it anymore. They, you know, let's just say that most of them grow out of it. So it was a feminist line, like, oh, men are bad. Fuck men. You know, fuck that shit. So retarded. And it's not the only line. Later on, she tells the little girl, there is no heaven, and all boys don't deserve to go to heaven. Like, what the fuck? Another feminist line. It's so fucking dumb. You know, the bad ones, they don't get to go to heaven, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, get the fuck out of here. And then I don't know what the fuck. I understand it's supposed to not take things seriously and it's supposed to be throw some comedy in there and shit. But honestly, I didn't find anything funny. Not one thing. It wasn't funny at all. It was dumb. Like, why the fuck? You have one scene where she's doing this stupid little dance before she grabs a paper machete or whatever. And I'm like, why? That's so dumb. That's not funny. It's retarded. It was dumb. That little dance scene, there was no point in it. They just threw it in there to do it? It's fucking stupid. I don't care. It's not funny. It was dumb. And then she, at one point she threatens the aunt, and she's like, I swear to fucking God, I'll kill you if you speak. You know, and I'm like, what the fuck? Really? Remember, there's no heaven? So why is she using God's name in vain? Kind of shit? Yeah, it's dumb. It's so dumb. I was just like, get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. It wasn't funny, it was stupid. They just like said, fuck it, let her do whatever she wants. Now she has emotions. Now she can act like a whammon and be a total bitch. I was just, no, it's so done. She's an android. It wouldn't work that way. I don't care if it's AI or not. It would be much scarier, you know, being precise and calculated and shit. But no, they just let their freak flag fly and they acted stupid with it. And then the ending, oh my God, this is a dumb ending. I get they're wanting to make a sequel, so they made it to where she downloaded herself in that little, like, Siri bot. It was just, fuck off. They should not make a sequel. This was a terrible movie. It wasn't horrible. It was watchable, but at the same time, no-name actors. The lead actress cannot act worth a shit. Bad storyline. The little girl towards the end, before she helped her auntie, she was becoming a bitch, like she was a drug addict or something, because she had to have Megan all the time. So she was getting physical and shit, hurting people. I was just like, man, it's fucked up, you know. But like I said, the story was terrible. It's been done. It's cliched. It's, you know, we don't need any more of that kind of crap. It's dumb. Stop it. It wasn't funny at all. Terrible movie. Not horrible. Like I said, it's watchable, but not very good at all. I gave it 2 thumbs down. I highly do not recommend this movie if you're wanting to watch a decent horror movie, because it wasn't good. Alright. That's enough of that. And that's my honest, you know, facts and opinions about the movie. Let's move on to your B-movie reviews. Alright, movie holics, moving on to your B-movie reviews. This week is Horror Week. this week we are doing a couple creature features. The first one was done in 1980. There was no box office numbers for it. At first I thought this was a TV movie because it came off kind of like a TV movie, but it wasn't. And the movie's called Island Claws. It starred Robert Landing and Nita Talbot. Now, hopefully I pronounced their names right. You never know. I may get them wrong, so forgive me if I do. This movie is basically about a bunch of crabs that mutate from chemicals in from a water plant, and they end up growing large and attacking people. And then there's one king crab, size crab, that's like as big as a house that they end up having to fight towards the end. It was pretty cheesy. I mean, real cheesy. You know, 80s flicks, they sometimes had cheesy CGI and all that shit, but this one was pretty cheesy. The story, it was kind of lame. It almost came off like a 50s movie that they, you know, updated or whatever to an 80s flick. The crabs, honestly, I didn't get the feel that the crabs were in any danger, to be honest, because all the crabs were normal sized crabs till towards the end you got the big giant one. Other than that, they were all normal sized crabs. And supposedly these crabs are like attacking people, but scientifically, if you look it up scientifically, they don't attack people. They walk a certain way because of the joints in their legs. So that's why they most generally tend to walk sideways, but they can walk forwards and backwards and, you know, diagonally if they want to. It's just easier for them to walk sideways. But yeah, some of the scenes, like the first kill was this guy in a trailer or bus or some shit that he made his home, and he knocks over some kerosene or something, sets it on fire, and he could have easily ran out of the bus and got out, but instead he just sits there and screams and lets it burn him up, even though the crabs, like I said, he could just run out. You know, it was pretty pathetic. But certain stuff like that, it was really not, it was kind of comical, actually. I mean, I laughed a little bit in some of the scenes just because it was so far out there, so stretched out there. I thought it was funny. But yeah, if you're just looking for something cheesy and funny to watch, even if you're a hardcore horror fan, you can check it out. But I'm telling you, it's honestly, you really don't need to waste your time. I didn't think it was that great at all. I gave it 2 thumbs down. I don't recommend it. It wasn't a very good movie, to be honest. Let's move on. The next one I watched was called Ants, and it was done in 1977. I'm not talking about the Disney cartoon or who was it did it? Was it Disney? Or was it Pixar or whatever? I think Pixar is owned by Disney now. I don't know. But anyways, it's not the cartoon. This was a TV made movie for TV. Back when TV made movies were actually okay to watch. But, you know, most people don't watch TV or whatever anymore. Everybody watches shit online. But anyways, of course, no box office numbers because it's TV. It starred Robert Foxworth. Now, I'd seen him a couple of times in 70s flicks. He was kind of, a decent actor that got caught on to do some movies. And then Suzanne Summers. Of course, everybody pretty much knows who Suzanne Summers is. I mean, Three's Company. There you go. And she was a hottie back then. No doubt about it. Anyways, the movie is basically about, there's this hotel, like on an island, I think. I think it's on an island because you see a lot of the water. I don't know if it's lake or ocean. I'm not sure exactly where they're at. Anyways, there's a hotel in this, near the water, bay or area or whatever. So you got this hotel near the water, and you got a mother and a daughter. The daughter's trying to sell the hotel to this rich businessman that's with Suzanne Summers, who, she's supposed to be a partner, but he doesn't treat her like no partner. Anyways, he's trying to buy the hotel from the mother, and the mother's kind of reluctant to sell it. Now, the daughter, she's in love with this construction guy who they plan on getting married, which is Robert's character. And they're going to, he's running a construction crew trying to fix shit up outside of the motel or hotel or whatever. By doing so, one of the diggers ends up digging up this hole or whatever that infuriates some ants. Now, the explanation that they give for the ants killing people is that there's been so much toxins used that the ants over time have absorbed the toxins from, like, the 40s up or whatever, all the insecticides and toxins, blah blah blah. And now anytime they bite someone, their bites become toxic. They're poisonous now. So you go through a bunch of, there's a few people that get hurt, a boy and a couple crewmen, one person dies. Suzanne Summer gets it too, blah blah blah. They basically get most of the people out of the motel or hotel. They start a ring of fire around the motel in this ditch of gasoline to keep the ants at bay. But there's people still trapped in the hotel. Robert's character, the woman, his fiance, the daughter, and the billionaire guy or whatever, the guy who's going to buy the place, and one other guy who works for the hotel. He gets out by falling out when he's trying to help the mother, because the mother's in there too at first. They lift her out by helicopter, but they blow the ants all over the crowd that's standing outside. I'm like, why the fuck do they... I would tell that crowd to get way the fuck back, but they're like right up against the fire wall, and I'm just... That's so dumb. But anyway, they blow ants all over the crowd. The helicopter does, so they decide not to use it again. The guy that was helping her, the other guy that works at the motel, the young dude, he falls down on this awning and rolls over the awning, and one of the crew members of the construction crew takes a bulldozer up there and picks him up and gets him out of there. They tell the other three, you're going to have to sit still. They have an expert who knows about ants. Anyway, he tells them over this phone, you gotta sit still and not move. and the ants will not attack you. So they make these little air hose like out of wallpaper or some shit. They start breathing through these little funnels while they sit there and they let themselves get covered by all these ants because there's no way out. Now the police chief, which you'll recognize him, he's the something Denny. I can't remember his exact name. He's pretty young in this. The police chief, you'll probably recognize him as the police chief on Rambo: First Blood, because I instantly recognized him. But he tells them to hold on. He's got a couple guys with some suits that are going there, and they'll spray specific insecticide or pesticide that's going to knock the ants off of them, get them to be able to drag them out. So they do. They finally get in there and get them out, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. They kill the ants. Now the rich dude, the millionaire or whatever, he couldn't take it. He flipped out and ran out the door and jumped out the window, or the window. He jumped out the window and killed himself. But the other two, the ones that were getting married, they made it out. They got them out of there. Funny thing is they're covered in ants in the building, and then as soon as the guys with the suits reach them, start spraying them down, they're breathing that shit in. The guys in the suits have these hazmat masks on, so they're not breathing the insecticide, but those two are. So it's kind of funny. I'm just like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. You're going to kill it with the insecticide. Anyways, they're covered. When they come out, they're instantly not covered by ants. Two, somehow they got suits on them. Like they come out and they're it flashes from them being sprayed to them having suits on coming out, and they ain't got a single ant on them. I'm just like, okay, whatever. But anyways, that's pretty much the end of the movie. They kill off the ants, blah, blah, blah. That's the end. It was okay for what it was. I mean, it was a TV-made movie. The acting, at least, was decent in it. Made the story move along. But yeah, it was kind of cheesy. And they did have some pretty bad CGI scene where they just made this blob of black when they showed the ants near the motel. It was just, okay, you definitely tell someone went in there with a marker or made a marker out of that shit. It was crazy. Anyways, I actually thought it was alright. It was watchable. For a one-time watch, it wasn't horrible. 2 thumbs up. Check it out if you want. If you're a die-hard horror creature feature fan. And that's all I got for you this week. So, till next time, I told you, if you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions, like genres or anything like that, of B movies or cult classics that you think I never have ever heard of. I'm not talking about the ones most people have heard of. I'm talking about stuff that most people probably never heard of, that are underrated or something. That's usually what I tend to look for. Please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below, and I will get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you be told the truth, and you just been told.